Hi everyone, my name is Violet and this is Violet Tries Panning. In today's video, we're going to be doing a viewer request by the name of Angela De Silva. Thank you so much. I will be talking about my recommended / favorite products from ShopMissA. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep on watching. I rummaged through everything in my collection to find any ShopMissA product. I'm including just makeup. I will be going in the order that I typically do my makeup just because it makes it easier on me. I don't have any primers because, well, I do own probably 4 or so. I have finished up one previously from ShopMissA called the Clean Slate Primer. That one is discontinued. That one I would absolutely recommend if it was still around. Sadly, it's not, so I haven't found one that I have really been wowed by. So if that changes, of course, I'll do an updated video, but for now, there's just nothing in this category. And with foundations, I do have probably 5 foundations from them. They're like different types, but the 2 that really stand out to me, the first one is the classic AOA Studio. All of these, I think yeah, all of these will be AOA Studio brand, which is, in case you're not familiar, Miss A's in-house brand. So I just won't be referring to the brand because it's gonna get redundant and annoying. But this is the perfect BB cream. I know on the bottle it says number 4. That is because I have plentifuls of these and I label them to go from like the oldest to newest, so I know what to grab first. But this one is the very first one that I've ever had in my collection, foundation wise, from Miss A. And this one is such a classic, such a phenomenal one. I have never had an issue with this not blending, not matching, not showing up, not giving me enough coverage. Never set this and I've had it last in Texas heat, so 100-degree plus weather, and it still looks fine. It's beautiful. I do typically like to use this with a brush more so than a sponge because I typically find that with brushes, with a lighter coverage foundation, blends better and it doesn't soak up a lot of product, whereas a beauty blender typically soaks up more. It does have a little bit of glowiness to it. You can definitely amp it up with other products you're using. I've used this in conjunction with powder products, cream products, liquid products, and everything blends on top of this fine. Another foundation that is, I think, the second one I've tried from them. This is their Vita Glow Tinted Moisturizer with vitamin C. I do have the shade called Light, and this is a perfect match for me until it gets hit with the air and oxygen. Then it does start to kind of oxidize quite a bit. It does turn orange. I realized that whenever I cut the top off of a previous one that I had finished up this year. But this one for $2 is just a phenomenal as well foundation. This holds up in the 100-degree and 100-degree plus weather with no issues. I have used powder products on this, cream products, liquid products, and it still looks fine. This does not give you like that much of a dewy effect on the face, at least for me personally. I've never had that, so I do have to rely on other products for that. But this one, it does kind of dry down and it looks like not like a really heavy powder foundation, but it does dry down to that sort of effect, which is crazy. Lasts all day, no issues. It's just such a staple. Like, I just absolutely love this, and I do have a couple of them on hand. That's why this one is unopened as well. For concealer, there hasn't been one that's very specifically stood out to me. So the concealer that I did end up in here to recommend is their Top Secret Concealer. This one is in a pot form. I do use the shade called Buff, and it's a pretty good match for me. I find that it does cover. It's not really like super thick, but it is thicker than a normal like squeeze tube doe foot sort of applicator formula. You can definitely use this underneath the eyes, and I've never found it to be heavy. I've never found it to look cakey. All concealers crease, so I'm not really going to say that it's not a crease concealer because every concealer does. It's just a matter of, we have texture, we have lines on our face. It is normal. Embrace it. It's totally fine. But this one you can also use, I've seen some people use to carve out their eyebrows, which is also another way you can use this. You can also spot conceal, so it's kind of an all-around concealer, and I believe it runs only $1, so I really like this one, and every single time I use this, I'm reminded of just how great it is. For bronzers, this one is my absolute favorite. I do have another bronzer, or like, not concealer, contour stick from them, but I haven't really played around with either or shade that I have yet to really say that I recommend it. This one I have used countless times, countless ways, and through, I am just in love with it every single time. It is their Venetian Romance line. This is their creamy bronzers. I do have the shade called Venice, which I believe is the lightest shade. This one is more of a bronzer tone, so it does have a little bit of orange tone to it. This one, as you can see, I have used it. I have loved it. I am just absolutely beyond thrilled and impressed by this because it blends so easily. I know the little container is not that big, so you have to really pick and choose what sort of brush, but it blends so beautifully on the skin. I've never had an issue with it being patchy or not sticking in certain places. Like every single time, any single foundation I've put this on, it just looks beautiful and like bronze skin. And this one is absolutely one of my favorites, like bronzer wise. For blushes, I do own 5 different kinds. I do have 4 separate different ones here that I want to quickly talk about just because I find that you can't really go wrong with any one of these formulas. The first one that I really like is their Color Flush liquid blushes. It comes in this sort of like little, almost like a lipstick tube applicator. I have the shade called Cherrywood. It is a beautiful color, a beautiful finish. I just like to dot a couple and then blend it out with either my fingers or brush or sponge, and I've never had any issues that way. This one is also really good if you want to go light-handed with a little bit of blush or pack it on with a little bit more blush. Hush Cream Sheer Blush is a classic. This is probably one of their first like cream blush formulas that they've had. These, I don't think you can go wrong with these. I don't know if they're still available because I think the last time I checked on their website, they were discontinuing their highlighter versions of these. And I want to say that they only had like 3 or 4 shades of these. So if that's the case, I'm sorry for putting it in here and not checking beforehand. But if they're still available, in the chance that they are, definitely grab these. These are just that staple blush. It's like a quick couple pats on your cheeks. You get color, you're out the door. It's no fuss. It's like the easiest product to apply blush. The next one I also want to recommend is, these 2 are newer to me, but they are still so good. This is their Plush Blush Gel Liquid Blush that comes in their little nail polish sort of applicator. I do have 2 different shades. This one is called Nimbo, which is a orange one. It's like a burnt sort of sienna orange. It's very pretty. It does not come across this vibrant on the cheeks. It's definitely sheared out, but it does give you that nice sort of like soft, flush, orangey cheeks. It can tend to look just a teensy bit like a sunburnt type of effect, but this one, I don't find that the applicator hinders the performance whatsoever. This one blends so easily, it applies so easily, never had a problem with any sort of method of application, and these have lasted all day long with no problems. They're also from their Venetian Romance line that came out with the creamy blushes, so like the creamy bronzers. This one is in the shade called Cake, and it is a vibrant, like corally red pungent color. And it definitely does sheer out, but it does look more sunburnt, more flush cheeks, which if that's what you're going for, this is definitely going to provide that. Formula is so beautiful. It applies so easily. You just have to go very light-handed with this one. For highlighter, I'm actually adding in one that's a powder product. I know most of the products I've been recommending are cream and or liquid, and that's just something I prefer because I do have dry skin. The shade is off. We will ignore that. But the way that this performs, the way that this shows up and applies, I think that it would look beautiful in the correct shade. And that is their Perfect Pressed Highlighter. This one is so good. I have the shade called Countess, which it's darker than my complexion, so I have to be very mindful of this. I do have to combine it with a lighter highlighter, but this one is so smooth, so good. It is such a pretty color. It's just so nice, and it has like this nice like soft gold sheen to it. I just definitely don't think that you would be disappointed with any of the shades if you found one that is the right tone for you. But this one, on a brush, apply it, it shows up, it looks beautiful. It is not going to give you a natural looking highlight. It's definitely going to give you more of a little bit more of an intense sort of pigment. So if you're, again, following the whole clean girl, no makeup trends, or that's just your style, this is definitely not going to be for you. But if you don't mind a little bit of extra oomph, you can't go wrong. Another highlighter that I recently discovered, and I like immediately when I tried it, I was like, I love this. This is a like multitask product. It's from their Magical Girl line. This is a gloss highlighter for the face, eyes, and lips. I've not used it for the eyes or the lips yet. This on the face gives you that like most natural, because there's no color in it. It gives you that dewy, healthy looking, like just beautiful gleam to your cheeks of this. The only thing I do want to mention is that this does not dry down. It stays sticky because it is meant to be also a lip gloss. So lip glosses don't really dry down. They stay sort of like that tacky, and it lasts and it looks beautiful. And honestly, I just love it so much. My second to last recommended couple of products are for the brows. All-time favorite is their sculpting brow pencil that comes in this black and silver packaging. I have previously finished one of these before, and this one does have the sort of like triangular looking tip. I tend to like more of a fatter sort of eyebrow pencil because, well, my brows are not super thick, but also not super thin. So I do like to have that sort of angled end for the front of my brows and then the thin one for the tails of my brows, and it works just fine. I do use the shade medium brown. Perfect good shade. This one lasts all day. I don't set it with any sort of brow gels, brow wax, or anything like that, and this holds up. Last category is lips, and surprisingly, I don't have a lot from them in terms of the lip category. I think it's just because I've got quite a bit already of lip products that I want to get through before I purchase any more. But these are just such good staple ones in my collection. I don't believe one of these is still available. I could be wrong, but I'll talk about those first. They're Wonder Matte lipsticks. I do have two different ones. I will explain. This is their old formula and their old packaging with the silver top and then the clear inside. None of these shades I think are longer available anymore, but they reformulated and they repackaged it to look like this. So instead of the silver tops, they have the more cream, like yellowish sort of caps to them, and they're still good formulas. I think that I still prefer either one. I know back then people complained about these being drying, and then these, I haven't really heard people talk about them being drying or that I'm familiar with, but for me personally, these still I think are very comparable to each other. They're still hold up, they're still pigmented, they still stay on the lips, they don't move, don't budge. I don't use lip liners with any of them, and I've never had any feathering or transferring whatsoever. I only have a couple shades of these, and I think these you cannot go wrong with. They're just so good. Highly recommend them. I'm pretty sure these might still be available if I'm correct, but a matte lip, I can't go wrong. I'm a sucker for it. What can I say? And the last recommended product is another sort of matte lip product, but this one I find that can become, well, not can be, it is comfortable, and I think that if you're still into them like I am, and if you don't mind it too much, definitely give it a try. These are their velvet lips, and these don't dry down like a very harsh, drying, matte sort of feel to them. Like the name suggests, it's a velvet, so they're gonna have like a satiny sort of look to them, a satiny sort of feel. They're gonna be so comfortable, and they're gonna be so easy to use, it's so easy to wear, that you're just gonna love, pretty much fall in love with this formula, and hopefully a shade too. The shade that I do have is called Lana, my favorite shade. I picked up 3 of these. I hated the other 2 because they were too light, too pale, too ugly looking on me. But Lana, I'm always gravitated towards that burnt, rusty orange sort of kind of color, and that's what this one is. And it's just comfortable. It lasts all day. It doesn't transfer. The wear time is like hours on end. It does sort of eat away and drink away as time goes on, but it's just such a comfortable color that sometimes you forget you're wearing, and I know sometimes I have forgotten, but such a good one. Thank you guys so much for watching. What is your recommended Miss A product if you've tried from them? If not, did any of these catch your eye? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to talk with you there, and as always, have an awesome rest of your day and your week, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye, guys.